The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar. This week we're going to be doing a masterclass session on MWF Panel Stacker. We've shown this in a previous webinar, but it was really just a high-level overview. So Matthew this week is going to get into the nitty-gritty of everything you need to know about MWF Panel Stacker. You can see most of you are fairly familiar with the product looking at the names in the attendee list here. However, if there is anyone who's new to MWF, strongly encourage you to reach out to us, book a one-on-one demo with Matthew, who can take you through how you build and how MWF can benefit your next project. As usual, anyone who's registered for the webinar will be sent a recording automatically. If you had any colleagues that you feel might be interested, please forward that email afterwards, and those emails should be coming to you before the end of today. You can also ask questions throughout the webinar in the questions tab of the GoToWebinar portal over here. All right, so I'll just hand off to Matthew now.
Thank you, Alexine. Hello, good people, and welcome to the MWF Masterclass on the MWF Panel Stacker. You'll find us here in our Revit project, our special holiday edition. You'll notice my colored studs, appropriate for the season. But enough with the Christmas fun. Let's get right into it, folks. So as Alexine mentioned, a couple of you out there, a few of you, most of you, I think, are familiar with MWF. So I won't go into a lengthy explanation as to how we convert these Revit walls into MWF panels. But what I will mention is the fact that I've created all these panels, and I've also generated all of the shop drawings. So if I scroll down here in my project browser, I've got all of my panel drawings created. I'll open one up, you can take a look. Oh, there he goes. So just a nice elevation, nice title block, nice, clean, crisp, simple. Close that down. And we're going to jump right into the panel stacker. In 1 second, I just want to mention that with those drawings, I've also gone ahead and exported them as a PDF, each individual one. So I've got all 100 and something panels right here in this folder location. We're going to see that again in a minute. But let's go ahead and open up the add-ins tab. Over here on the left, we have the MWF Panel Stacker. And sure enough, right here, nice and purple, opens up the stacker. Let's jump right in. We're going to start with the settings dropdown. Here we have a couple of things that are going to allow us to set up this project, such as the units, our panel selection, what the regenerating the cache is. Let's just start right through it. Units, pretty straightforward. We're working in imperial with feet and fractional inches. We're rounding. We want to be a little more precise than 1 inch. So let's go to, let's say 1/4 inch today. I'm using all of my MWF weighted studs. So we're going to look at our pounds per cubic foot, give us a nice overall panel weight and a very nice bundle weight. And our weight precision, you can go down to up to 3 decimal places, or you can round to the nearest 10 pounds if you'd like. We'll just leave it at 0. I'm okay with that if you're okay with that. Carrying on, we're going to open up panel selection, because what the tool does is allows us to select one of the 3 options right here. So it says select panels based on either your panel label, so that's what I like to use, our panel members, or the panel host. And in this case, that would be the Revit wall or the Revit floor, because the stacker works with both the wall and floor module. Like I said, I like using just the panel label. That way when I do blanket selections, and if I grab studs from one wall that I don't want in that bundle, and I don't hit the label, I know it's not going to be added to that panel, so I use just panel label. Panel sheathing. If we had used or modeled these panels with sheathing on it, we had top extension, bottom extensions to the end of each one, we can enable those dimensions by enabling the panel sheathing option. Now, I haven't used sheathing in this project, as you can see, so we can leave it disabled, and that's okay. The reports directory. Very important. So as I mentioned before, I've created all of my MWF panel shop drawings. I've exported them as a PDF to that folder location, and I can see that location right here. So I just said browse and I found it, and I searched by stamp, and I said okay. I'm not going to do this again because it runs through every single panel and it stamps a sense of connection between the two. And I'll quickly just show you here again in 1005 right here. If I zoom in on the bottom left corner, we get this nifty little code right here. So this ID helps link this panel, this shop drawing, to the shop drawing in this folder. And we're going to see that connection in a little bit, trust me. Carrying on, regenerating the cache. So if I make a modification to one of these panels, if I regenerate a drawing or if I generate a new drawing, I just need to update my cache, and that way that panel is updated in the bundle, in the stack, wherever it may be with its new size or length or whatever the case may be. Then we have the about right here. Tells me what version of the panel stacker I'm running, change log and whatnot. And finally, the video tutorial. So right here, if we get stuck anywhere, we can just reference the video tutorial. Boom, settings, done with. Let's get these panels into a bundle. So the best way to do this is to work in a plan view. And as we open it up, you see I've hidden everything else I don't need. I don't really care too much about furniture, grid lines, anything at this point in time. What you do notice is in my building right here, I've kind of traced around a couple of areas with Revit detail lines. So we just find those in the annotate option right here. We just say detail line. We don't need to save this project. And then we just trace the area that we're interested in encompassing, and I'll just show you, you just go around here like I've done. I've given it some color, I've made it look, easy to see right here. So once we've done that, we take these detailed lines that create these areas. Let me tab and select all of them. And I want to create an area. So from the area dropdown, I say create. I give this area a name. This looks like the northeast portion of my building. I assign a fill pattern or a hatch pattern, however we want to call it. I like to use these vertical lines. We'll choose a text size for our area, a nice big 1 inch, and we'll give it a color. Let's stick with the Christmas theme today, so we'll go red and say create. And it converts those detail lines to this complete area right here. And it's hatched. As I zoom in, I'm able to see my panels inside that area. So let's quickly go down here. We'll grab this set of lines. We'll create another area. A new area, thank you. This is our south area. Just say south. So once we start creating these bundles, we are able to create multiple bundles within these areas. Ooh, a sea green. There it goes. We'll just do the rest of them real quick here. So I've got a few projects I'm going to use today, folks. It's the same project. It's just a little further along in time. That way we're going to get all of these panels into a bundle and all of those bundles onto a truck. Just want to show you how quick and easy it can go. But again, I don't want to take up your whole day. We'll use a crimson red. It's a jolly color. There we go. And the last one. So like I said before, we're going to create multiple bundles within these areas. And those bundles are going to be created off of user-defined selections. And we'll give this one the northwest area name. Transparent, there we go. 1 inch. Need a new green. Oh, it's lawn green. Not to be confused with the lime green. Perfect. So in this project, I've encompassed the entire ground floor, first floor with these 4 areas. Let's take a look at the old northeast section here. Quite a few panels in here. Oh, let me just mention one thing. The area manager lets me see every area I've created. If I select one, say northeast, I can rename it, I can change its fill, I can delete it completely, update the text, and I can also associate this area to multiple floors. So once we're done on the first floor, I can say second floor, and that same area projects itself onto the second floor, and that would allow me to associate bundles to the same area, but on different levels of my project. Oh, I closed down the old stacker. Let's go back in there. There we go. And here we are bundling. We have the stacker button. So let's go ahead and open it up today. Now it's going to open up first it's going to restore my saved panels because I've got them in the directory. And it's going to open up these 3 dialog boxes. And like most of you, I usually work with 2 monitors, but for presentation purposes today, we're only going to work with 1. So things get a little bit clustered here, but we'll work in full screen in a second. And let's just take a look at each one of these. We have the Management Center. Here's where we have our Bundling tab, where we can obviously create new bundles, rename them, delete them. We can pick panels from the Revit environment and bring them into our bundles. We can take bundles from the Revit environment and put them onto a truck later, or we can do so from the bundled table. You'll notice here I'm in the areas tab, so it's already picked up the 4 areas that we just created over here. If I jump to the walls command, or walls tab rather, pardon me, I see every panel in my project. And over here, let me get up my way over there. I don't have a bundle number for it yet. I don't have those panels associated into an area, but I do have a length and a height and a thickness, a weight, a hosting level, and whatnot. And what's really cool to see is the shop drawing PDF. So remember this folder I mentioned before with all of the exported shop drawings into this folder? Well, when I select one, let's say 1088 right here, it opens up that PDF. Not much to look at. There's his bill of material, nice and simple. Let's try to find something a little bit cooler here. Maybe 123. Just as plain, but you guys see what I'm doing. So I can look at those panels from my bundle table. This will become a little bit useful in a bit. But we can also clean up everything we see here just by clicking on one of these column headers, and then it reorganizes everything for me by name. I can sort them by length or by height or even by thickness. So if I want to put all of my interior 3 and 5/8 inch walls in the same bundle, I can do that as well without even going through my panel. But today we're going to go in here and select some of these panels. And at this point in time, I'll mention here, you'll notice I can still maneuver and operate around within the Revit environment. And down here we have the stacker. So I've got a nice little 3D view on this side. I've got a nice little elevation view over on this side. And we're going to see some cool stuff going on here in a minute. But we're finally ready to create our first bundle and get some panels in there. So let's say new. And we give it a name. We'll just call it B100. So we've got bundle B100. We give it some constraints. I like to just be really generic right out of the gate and say it's 20 wide by 20 high by 20 long. And I get a nice 20 by 20 by 20 box right here, ready to house some panels. Whew. Now, if we had a bundle constraint, which is always going to be the same size all the time, we can assign a constraint from our table. And this brings me to our templates over here. So I don't have any bundle constraints in here because I wanted you guys to see me create those constraints here. But I can also generate false panels. So here I've got a 6x6 post in case I need to lay some members down on top of a panel to even it out, to support an overhanging member. Maybe I want to stack multiple bundles on one another, and I can use these 6x6 posts to get either my straps or my lifting forklift underneath there, whatever the case may be. And we also have truck templates. So these trucks are going to come into play in a little bit, but we'll get back to that. So we've created our bundle constraints. Here it is. Let's get some panels in there. So let's zoom in here and let's start with our exterior wall panels. There we go. So I'm just holding control, grabbing these labels. And like I said, I'm not worried about grabbing the members from interior panels because I've only selected the panel labels. So let me get a little wild here. I can use some blanket selections like this. We can swing all the way up here. Here I'll have to be a little careful because maybe I don't want this interior column wrap panel in this exterior bundle, so I make sure I don't get them. And we'll talk about what happens if I do accidentally put two panels into the same bundle. So I've got this corner, or these two walls, all of the panels within those walls selected. And over here in my management center, I want to assign from Revit some panels. And just like that, it brings all of those panels into this 20 by 20 bundle. It doesn't look so great just yet. It looks like it would kind of topple over here and then up here. We'll worry about that in a second. But what I want to do is, once I save bundle 100, I want to definitely make sure I've associated it to the northeast area, because I don't want it just floating around. I don't want it over there in the northwest side and then have to move these panels a bunch of times. So let's go ahead and select our area and then assign from Revit an area. And right here where it says assigned area, guess what shows up? Northeast. There it is. Perfect. All right, so we've associated bundle 100 with these 11 panels with a 20 by 20 by 20 constraint and these guys right here. But let's get these guys looking good. So the first thing I want to do is just minimize my management center and my bundling table. And I'm going to make my stacker full screen. There we go. We'll zoom out here on the 3D side of things. You can orbit around in 3D just like we do in Revit. We use the exact same keys. Get a little bit of lag there from the go-to. Sorry about that, folks. We'll just go like this. There you go. Top right. And over here, we've got all of our panels. Now I'm going to have to go back to the management center in 1 second, because when I hit the stack button, it's going to optimize the placement of these panels for me. And now it's going to try to stretch out as many as it can along the bottom. Watch what happens when I say stack. Are you sure you wish to stack your panels in bundles? Okay. And just like that, it's laid them out in this waterfall type configuration. Doesn't look too bad, but it's going to be a little bit tougher to stack a bunch of these waterfall long 20-foot panels onto a 53-foot truck. So let's go back to our management center. Let's reduce our length from 20 feet to something like, let's say 10 feet. It updates right here. And because those panels are now being chopped off by this, my bounding box essentially, they turn red. So anything red in our stackers and when we're getting these bundles on a truck doesn't mean it's bad, just means it's not fitting within those constraints just yet. So back to full screen. Let's restack. Are you sure you wish to stack your panels and bundles? Okay. Looks a little bit better. Still get some overhang here. Maybe I don't like that. So we don't always want to be dependent on how we come in here and put these panels in. What if, let's go in here. What if I needed to take 150 off of the bundle or after 146 or after 148? Well, let me just kind of find, it's lagging around a lot here. Sorry, guys. There we go. I've got automatic alignment enabled. So this allows me to grab a panel, just like so, and drag it up here. And if I drop it like this, he snaps back to where he might want to be. But I can turn that off for the time being. I can just grab these two guys, holding control just like within Revit. I can move them up here. We'll take 117 for a second. We'll just drag him up here in space. Take this guy, move him up here, up here, and now I can move these panels around as I see fit. And once I'm ready to bring them back into the correct location, I can just enable my automatic alignment again. So let's do that. And now I can drag them and they'll snap to where they need to be. But if I don't want them snapping to the X and Y location of their other panels, I can say something like center. Now when I grab, let's put 153, we'll just put them back in a very similar order, like so. Notice how it snaps right to the middle of panel 113. And by doing so, watch this, if I just select these two panels and then drag them down a little bit towards the other panels right here, they automatically stack and center themselves just like that. And I can just click on 1017, he jumped all the way up there, or 1047 rather, sorry. Drag this guy down like that. And then if I want to put these two panels on top of these guys right here, I can turn off the centering and I'll just pull them down to this corner and I'll pull this guy down. Oh man, that's laggy. Sorry folks, just like that. I hope it looks smooth on your side. Again, something like an overhang like this, I think will be okay. So I can see now my panels are all stacked up just the way I like them. If you're saying to yourselves, hey, but we want to ship our panels standing straight up, and that way we can remove each bundle and then each panel without having to stand them up, don't worry. We can stand this entire bundle up once we get it onto the truck. But if I needed to mix and match and maybe just rotate one or two of these panels, I have all of the modify selected commands right here. I can rotate it on its X, Y, or Z axis to stand it up, straight up. I can lay it on its edge or one of its end studs. And I'll take a look at that in a little bit. We'll just rotate entire bundles. Much easier like this. But what I can see now is my bundle constraints are still set to 10 feet by 20 by 20. It's not how big my actual bundle is. So I can just assign constraints from the overall dimensions of all of the panels right now. So if I click that, it shrinks down to 8 by 12 by 5. I'm going to have a much easier time getting a few of those size bundles onto a truck than, you know, big 10 by 20 by 20s. So if B100 looks good, I can save it and it's popped right into my Revit project here. And it's actually going to pick up the current status is saved. Thank you. It's going to pick up the location of the two most, well, actually it takes into consideration the location of all of these panels, and it locates my bundle right in the middle. So this would be the optimal spot to place this bundle on site to get all of the panels along this wall and this wall placed. So again, if you guys have any questions about anything I've done so far, please feel free to type them into the chat portion of the GoTo. We've got everyone standing online. Check them out. They'll be answering them. Anything we don't get to today, we'll definitely make sure to get you guys an email with your answers and a recording of today's webinar. All right, we're missing one of our dialog boxes. Oops, not the management center, the bundling table. There it is. Let's just jump back over here to the walls tab for a second. And I want you guys to see all of the panels that have been put into B100 are now given in both of these columns. I'll just click right here. I'll bring them all the way up to the top. There they are. It fills in my necessary fields right here. I'm ready to keep going. So this is live updating as we work through our project. And remember, I can also select panels from my bundle table and associate them into a bundle as well. So I wouldn't need to go through my project and select them, especially if I know I've spent the time with my naming conventions on my exteriors and my interior walls. So depending on how you work within MWF, can really facilitate how we get these bundles and these panels put into these bundles. But let's go ahead and just do a new one real quick here. We'll do another bundle, just so you guys see me do it real quick. 101, give it a constraint. And even before I select any panels, I can grab this area right here, assign from Revit, area assigned is northeast, and I can keep grabbing panels as I see fit. So let's do something a little bit different this time. Here. I'm not worried about those studs. I just want to grab those labels, just like that. So again, assign from Revit, those panels, in they go. I can already tell I don't want it to be 20 feet, so we can lower that down. Let's say something like 12 feet, just like that. Let's restack, and then we can make any modifications we might need. Let's take a look at those rotating options I mentioned before. So I can grab this guy right here. I can rotate him up just like that. Maybe just stick him right. Oh, he's outside of the bounds. Just drop him right up, right there. And then we can, just like we did before, we can play around with where we want these guys to be located. I can center them all just by clicking on them real quick. Oh, they're going to be difficult. There they go. This at the same time. So again, if you don't like something, get a little cheeky there, eh? Just took the wrong one. If I don't want one of these panels in one of these bundles, I can just make note of it. It's 1084. I can go over here into my bundle list. I can remove them. There it goes. So he's gone. I can bring them back in. And like I said, we can, let's just save this guy. We can also create a bundle. So we'll call this one B interior. We'll put him in the center. Wait till he updates there. Come on. There he goes. And then I can jump over here into my bundling table. I can say thickness. Let me go up here, grab my 3 5/8 or 3.5 inch. I can select a whole bunch of them. I can say assign from my bundle table these panels. Oh yeah, that helps, eh, if I do that. In they go. Stack it. I can bring this in to 10 feet maybe. Who's my longest guy in there? Usually what dictates. Restack. So you can notice that, like I said, I don't need to select every single member. I can grab them from the bundling table. So I'm going to go ahead, bring this guy down, save it, close it. Give it a second to think about what he's done here. And again, it finds that location and brings in that bundle. So again, this one's a little bit easier to see because he's actually below the cut plane. I can drag these guys around too. In each bundle, it tells me its name and it tells me all of the panels that are inside it. So I've got a couple of these panels into these bundles, pretty straightforward. I can see them in 3D as well if I just bring back generic models. But, come on. There they are, 1, 2, 3. My 3 bundles with all of the panel names, or the bundle names and the panel numbers and names within them. So once we go through our project, I'm just going to close this project down. Like I said, I've got the same project. Oh yeah, let's close it down too. Oh, thanks. Close it down. No, I don't need to save that. We're looking for this project right here. Same project. Every single panel has been bundled. So if I open up my panel stacker again, I open up stacker option right here. Just give it a quick second. It's processing all of them. It's putting them all in that bundling table for me. Holy cow. Was having some computer issues earlier this morning. I'm sure some of you out there experienced that Windows update today. So wondering if that may have a little bit of an issue with my computer speed here today, but well worth the time because we're not manually getting these panels into a stack. Holy no. Well worth the wait in my opinion. There we go. Here are all of the existing bundles in my project now. And as I select them, I can see every bundle. I've gone through them. I've placed them as I need. Take a look at a couple of these guys. Some of them longer and thinner than others. Some of them a little bit higher. Perfect. All of these bundles are done. And like I mentioned before, in the template option here, we have truck options. We create false panels. We can create bundle constraints so I don't have to just punch in numbers here and kind of guess how big it is and then constrain them. But we can create our own truck real quick here. Let's create a new one. And this will be the third order. Trailer length, trailer width, trailer height, and my trailer bed height. It's that simple. We just create a truck that fast. We know those constraints. If we have different sizes, not a problem. These are just the orders. We might use the same truck in the third or fourth order, but we control all of that right here in our packing tab. So we create or modify a new pack. So here we just like we've been doing, we'll call it second pack. Second pack order. But if I select the first one here, we'll do the second one. I want to assign from my bundling table the second order, assign from the bundle, truck, and it brings my truck in. And now the size of my truck is to scale to what I've put it in here, to the bundles that I'm about to put on. So again, we can pick either one of these. Well, my second truck's a little bit wider. Oh yeah, that's okay. When we jump back over here to the bundling options, we can see all of our bundles, and we need to get these bundles onto those trucks. So, second order, let's go to the Bundles tab. Here are all of my bundles with their areas. Bundle 111, there we go, there we go. Like this. Let's take bundle 100, 101, and 102. So my first three that I've created, I know they're all in the northeast area. So they're all over there on same side, same area we created before. And I just want to assign them from the bundle table, some bundles. In they come, all nice and stacked up on top of each other. If I were to stack them at this point, kind of does its own thing here. Let me make it full screen. And let me get some of these guys looking a little bit better. Again, very click and shoot. Just grab him, pull him all the way over here. He snaps back. Same with this guy. We can pull him all the way over here. Come on down. There he is. Let me get a little bit closer. You'll notice I can see every panel name on each panel of each bundle. Each bundle is very clearly labeled for me. And this will come into play in a little bit. All right, so we've got those three bundles on those on this truck. Again, we can get more. We clearly have the space. A great question I got asked this morning was about the overall weight of these bundles, which I can see right here. Is we can get an overall weight of the truck later, but I can't restrict the number of bundles I put on. There is no weight restriction just yet. So stay tuned, folks. There we go. Assign from bundle table. Bundles. And they just pop in. Again, just let them think about it. There we go. And again, I can be orbiting in 3D. I can drag this guy all the way over here. And like I said, if we were planning on shipping these panels standing up, Let me bring this guy, come on. There you go. I can just, let me get him sitting just pretty. There you go. And look, I notice he's already sticking out, so he's going to be red. I clearly don't have enough space. So what I'm going to do is grab this bundle. Once it zooms out here, I'll make him full screen again. And like I said, I can rotate these panels, or these bundles. So if I stand him up on his Z-axis, whoops, rotate him once this way, and then once this way. I can just drag him around. I can go to a top view, see the same panel bundle, move him over here. I know that panel in the middle there is kind of floating up in the air, but I can go back into bundle 102 and just realign those panels. I could even stand them on his edge or whatever the case is. So there's complete flexible control over all of these bundles. Once those panels have been put in there, I can go back and reconfigure them as need be. And then I can grab this guy here. He already slides all the way back. Let me go like this real quick. So it's not a lengthy process if you're not experiencing the lag I am over the webinar here, but it's quite easy to do. Just kind of drag these guys around as you see wherever you need them. There you go, 102, looks good. I just save that status. Perfect. I can go to the first truck and I can create more bundles or create more create more trucks with those bundles. We're good to go. So pretty straightforward, selecting bundles either from Revit or from that table, locating them as need be. And I'm going to jump, I don't need this guy either, into, okay, we can close that guy down too, into another project right here. It's going to look very familiar. Great, but what I've done in this project is gone ahead and put every bundle onto a truck. So let me show you that. I think I've gone ahead and done 3 trucks. I stacked well. I spent a lot of time stacking these panels just right so I can get them on 3 separate trucks. Because what we do with this information is what's going to benefit us the most. So it's just going to gather all of this information. It's very important that we go back into the stacker. There's something I want to show you guys in here. It's very important. We're going to send all of this information in a second into that folder I mentioned before. So we're just going to gather all of this wall panel information again. Here we're going to go, where did it go? Here, we're going to stick it into this folder here in a second, where all of these files are being kept. Just like to take this time again to remind everybody, have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat portion of the GoToWebinar. There we go. There's all of my bundles again. We're all familiar with those by now. Here's my packing orders. My first order, there's the truck. Holy moly. Nice. Here's the second order, all the other bundles, and then our third order. So we've gone ahead and we've spent the time getting those bundles onto these trucks. Let's take a look at our bundling table over here. Walls. We can minimize these guys. And what are we going to do with this? Well, we can generate something from this report. But let's go ahead and clean everything up a little bit. You'll notice I clicked walls, it renumbers them. Let's go ahead and drag. Let's look at all of our bundles by area. So we drag our column header up here. And now I see every area. Like if I don't care about the south one to start, I can just minimize that and look at the northeast one right here. I can also filter out elements. I can say, I just want to look at the south area actually. And I can remove that filter if I don't like it. Perfect. So I put my area up here. And then maybe I want to break that up by, let's say, bundle. Just drag them in there. So in the south area, In bundle 108, I see every single panel. I can click on its shop drawing if need be. Oh, we're not rounding very well. There's a unit option in here as well, so I can round. We'll go a little more precise than that. There we go. So I can see every area, every panel, its drawings, and from here I can generate to Excel, but we can do that from here. I can cancel that. Not my favorite place to do it. I'd rather do it in a one-stop shop. So we're gonna open up, close all this down. Oh, we are gonna open up the Reports Manager right here. Great, because we have every panel in a bundle. We have every bundle on a truck. I can see the bundle report option right here. I can click each one, look at 105, I can generate the report just for this bundle. I can see it all if need be, or I can do them all at the same time. I can just do a few. Let's do them all. We'll see how quick it goes. I want to do this to PDF. I've got some settings right here. I can portrait a landscape, whatever the case is. You'll notice I've got Insert Shop Drawings selected. Very helpful. Let's go to PDF. Let's go and throw it into the Panel Stacker Webinar folder. Just put it right here. I'm okay with that. And we'll call this one All Bundles Report. So it's generating the report for all 19 bundles. And it goes pretty quick. So again, there's over 100 panels. I think there's 180 something panels in all of these bundles. Fairly representative of a decent sized floor, varying sizes. You can check the maximum lengths, widths, or heights within your panel stacker as well. So it's just drawing the bundles. There we go. And then we have the ability to export to Excel as well. So I definitely want to go and send one of my bundle reports to Excel. Oh, the headers. Yeah, very important, very quick. Done. Report generated. Good. We'll go to Excel as well. This one happens a little bit quicker. So we'll go like this, bundle, report, report generated. Awesome. Let's go take a look at our bundle reports first. So let's look at the Excel sheet. It's interesting. There we go. Bundle B111, 110, 112, 108. Every panel, what area it's located in, its length, its height, its thickness, its weight, and its shop drawing path. So again, where I showed you where we saved those PDFs to, I'm able to reference them right from here. So every panel or every bundle counted for. This is the bundle report. Again, you can select which bundles you want to be exporting, creating those reports for at any given time. And the PDF, this is my favorite because it gives us a very cool overview of how long this entire bundle and how high it is. It tells me how many panels are in there, its overall length, width, there's its weight. And if I scroll down, it gives me the shop drawing for each individual panel within that bundle. There's B110, every panel that's in there, and all of their shop drawings. So again, it's quite a nice little piece of output, helps me keep track of every single panel in each bundle, how long it is, what truck it's on, a very nice reporting tool. So I hope you guys like that. Last thing we're going to take a look at Whoops, let's open up the report manager again. I want to create a packing slip. This is for my truck driver. Let's give it to him. He's the first guy. He needs to know where he's going to put all of those bundles once it receives, or this would actually be for the guy who's loading the bundles onto the truck, and where that truck driver is going to drop each of those bundles once they get on site. So we've got the ability to do all three of them at the same time. I can get a little bit of information about each one. I can look at that truck as well. I can see, get a last minute overview of everything. Come on, buddy. There he is. See all of my bundles on there. Make sure, okay, yeah, 103 before 101. Yep, yeah. Everything looks good, lovely. And then I set up some report settings here. I don't want to label each panel of each bundle. I just need to label the bundles. That's okay. What did I set here? And we'll export this right to Revit. It'll come in as a sheet. I want to duplicate that first plan view where I created those areas before. Again, everything's just much easier in that plan view than in a 3D in this case. Okay, and for those of you out there who are familiar with MWF, familiar with our shop drawing concept, where we fill out zones, we use a title block created by the users. Same idea. We didn't want to change that up on you guys too much. A little bit easier to use though. So here I just punch in my sheet. Here, my drafting view goes into my drafting view area. My plan view goes into my plan view area. And I have some margins. I just say okay. It generates that sheet for me. We're almost done here, guys. I think we said it was going to be between half hour and 45 minutes. Just past the 45-minute mark. So if you guys can hold tight for another 2 minutes, you're free. There we go. Generated that report. And I've just realized I forgot to give it a name. But it should give it an unnamed option here. But it's going to keep the, yeah, it did. Rookie mistake. And, oh. Scales. Who's good with scales? Not me. I'll make this a quarter. There we go. I thought I set him to. There he goes. Let's drag him up here. There we go. Perfect. So what it's done for me is it's created a view with each bundle. I think I've turned off the dimensions actually, as to where they are to be located within my project once they arrive on site. And then a nice little elevation of the truck with each, well, my truck name, it's my first order truck, and each bundle number. There we go. We can bring that down a little bit. Sorry about that. There we are. Looking good. So our packing slip. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this masterclass into the panel stacker. It's a very simple tool to use once we've got our constraints set and those truck templates built. It's a lot of just what panel do we want in this zone or in this bundle, and then what bundle do we want on the truck first, second, third, depending on who's coming off. Whew.
Thanks very much, Matt. So we have a few questions have come in, and there's more coming in now. Tech team, watch out. So the first one is, I want to know if the software is able to recognize that smaller panels can fit within an opening of another panel. For instance, I'm assuming like a door opening or window, large window opening or something like that.
Unfortunately, we don't nest those panels within other panels. At this point, you'll notice here, if I'm just going to open up my, he is open. He's down here. I'll just open up my stacker one more time. It'll take a minute. I'll answer another question while we wait.
Okay, no
the
problem.
panels that are being generated are just these rectangular, identical sizes of Let me just grab a bundle here real quick. There we go. You'll notice there aren't any openings in any of them. They're just identical sizes to our MWF panels within the Revit environment. Great question, though.
But if you wanted to take a look at the individual panel, you could, of course, look at the associated shop drawing, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good to know. We don't have too many more, although I see a couple coming in right now. Let me ask a couple from this morning session, and meanwhile, people who are on this one this afternoon, please keep asking questions, and we'll see if we can put them to Matthew at the end. Can the software optimize how the truck is stacked to fully utilize layout space, volume, and allotted weight?
It won't optimize it for you. It's strictly a user-defined placement type control. So the users will have complete control over each one of those, the placement of those bundles within that truck. But what I can see here, if I jump over, whoops, to my trailer. Where's my, well, there it is, the total bundle weight. So I can still see that, the overall weight of every load of panels or every load of bundles, but there's nothing that's going to restrict it. The size restrictions, again, if my truck was any lower here, this bundle would turn red. It would tell me that it's not sitting, correctly on that truck. For every state highway code will be a little bit different, I'm sure, where oversized or whatever the case may be. Again, it's a completely user-defined criteria at this point in time.
Thanks very much, Matthew. So one that you had already answered this morning, but we'll just go over it again for this afternoon's group. Can the material schedule be set up to merge the materials within an area instead of breaking it out by panel and into an Excel file? So basically the material schedule to be bigger picture, not by individual panel, almost like material by zone.
And yes and no, as much as I don't like that answer. What I can do is within each area, it's not intelligently noticing the panels or the members that are within that area until they're in a bundle. But what I can do is, like I showed before, that's why I wanted to show it this afternoon, is because I didn't touch on it in this morning's webinar, is I can, let me get rid of this area. I can look at all of the panels in my project by thickness or by material, and I can see that, from, they're all going to be interiors. I can say, from here to here, these panels, are going to be in a single bundle. But I can see now, because this is my finished product right here, that they're already associated into different areas. So right now, we're not picking up the members within an area before they're in a bundle. So again, color coding with either MWF material schemes, Revit filters would be a nice way to visually aid in the process of selecting those members for a bundle by material rather than a bundle by panel. I hope that made sense to everybody out there.
Thanks very much. And on the packing slip dialog box, what does the units button do?
Packing slip units button. I'm not looking at it right. Hold on a second. Oh, if in the bundling table, the units is going to give the same units dialog box as it gives everywhere. It's just the ability to change between metric and imperial, and then specify your length precision, your weight precision, your weight unit, and whatnot. I hope that's where they were looking for it, or if, I don't think they were talking about the. Let me just check if it's in the report manager. Packing slip. Oops, there you go. Oh, packing slip. Here you go. Units. I'm hoping this is where they were talking about it. Again, same units, manager dialog box, just it's your rounding, your weight options for just because you can have different rounding and weight precision in all of the reports that are going to be generated.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Matthew. So with that, we will be ending the webinar. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending today and bearing with us to get the in-depth masterclass session, which took longer than we had anticipated. And as we previously stated, the recordings will be sent to anyone who registered for the webinar. If you would like to, you can share it with any colleagues who weren't able to attend. All they have to do is click the registration link and they'll be able to view the webinar. So, like I said, we will be ending the webinar. Thank you very much for attending.